Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for Monday the 2nd of August going through until Sunday the 8th of August 2021. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's going on in the astrology this week, what planets interact with one another and the energy they create and how that's going to influence you. My horoscopes are for all signs of the zodiac. They're for everyone who watches. So don't worry if you're a rising Virgo or your moon sign is Aries or your sun is Aquarius. This is a look at what the planets are doing and what energy is brought up by that. So I've had a look at this week and there's an interesting kind of element to it. There's a sense, it starts really straight away on Monday, the 2nd of August, with the sun being in Leo and opposing Saturn in Aquarius. So there's this sense to do something for yourself and to really shine your light and to enjoy life. But it's coupled with this need to fit in some sort of weird bohemian community way. So I want to be seen as respectable and I want to be respected and I want other people to share my ideas and to listen and I want it all to work. So it's a strange kind of dynamic between the self and then really behaving in a very particular way to get a specific outcome, which is the approval of other people. So be aware of that this week and try and catch yourself whenever you go into people-pleasing mode, because I really feel that that's going to be a very peculiar undercurrent this whole week. Okay, so let's start with Monday, the 2nd of August. We've got the sun in Leo opposing Saturn in Aquarius. Okay, so the sun rules Leo, so it's very happy there. And the sun is the center of our solar system. It's warmth, it's life. So you're really able to tap into life and to live if you're in the northern hemisphere, the summer to the fullest. Okay, it's about blossoming. And Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn is like the astrological head teacher. It's about the rules and structure. And Aquarius is about being a humanitarian and teaching and information and perspective. So with that opposition, me or the status quo. And usually you'll fall somewhere, along that spectrum whenever you have to make that very unusual choice. It seems very specific. But this week kind of it forces you to look at it again, and the influence of the mainstream or the majority is going to feel very, very influential. Yes. Okay, then we have the moon in Taurus. That wants you to enjoy the luxuries of life and all the good things you have, and also it makes you focused on romantic relationships. It squares Jupiter in Aquarius, the biggest thing in our solar system, so it amplifies all of that. And your desire for comfort and connection is going to be strong. The moon then goes into Gemini at 10:46 in the morning, and the moon in Taurus gives you a sense of connection and ease when it comes to practical earthly things. In Gemini, it gives you an ease for ideas and expressing yourself and looking to the future and talking and telling stories and being creative with abstract things. The Gemini moon then squares Mars in Virgo. So there's this big drive to get things right. And it trines Saturn in Aquarius, probably for other people. I want to get it right. I want other people to be happy with my performance. It's that kind of vibe. It's very, I don't know why, but I feel it's very unusual. There's something very, it's like something that plays out in like the outskirts of London or something like that. It's very much to do with the home and how you feel about the world and how you feel that other people perceive you. It's all of that stuff. So Mercury in Leo trines Chiron in Aries, and a lot of the self-care and the desire to do something for yourself and to live life to the fullest comes from that connection. Venus in Virgo trines Uranus in Taurus. So anything that happens, you're able to really think on your feet. You're pretty adaptable. You're able to deal with surprises as they come up. So, you've got this choice. Do you fit in or do you do things for yourself? I mean, being able to think on your feet really supports both directions. If you can think on your feet, then you can have a great time and avoid problems. And if you can think on your feet, then you can please people even more and get them to like you, if that's really the aim of the game for Monday. So altogether on Monday, there's a strong desire to spend the day aligning yourself with the views and opinions and feelings of others. And then to enjoy the comforts that come with that, a sense of belonging, a sense of being supported, being part of something bigger. There may also be a tendency to gossip on Monday. It makes sense because the thinking behind gossip, I suppose, is if I trash that person, then I look better and I go up the ranks, I suppose. So a better way to use your energy is to actually write. So something creative, or like what you're thinking of writing, to actually get busy with doing that, or to draw out a schedule, so to plan. Using your intellect and experience will feel healing, so use it for good rather than evil, and you're able to make sense of unusual circumstances by reflecting on your own experience. So it's likely that something has come up before that you know how to deal with. So you don't sweat it on Monday, and the only thing I would warn you about is just taking other people's viewpoints too seriously, especially if it minimizes you. On Tuesday, the 3rd of August, we've got the Gemini moon forming a trine with Saturn in Aquarius. So now it's, the greater wisdom is everything. Other people know more than I do, and I need to learn from other people. Kowtow, There's nothing wrong with that. It's humility and it's being willing to learn. But if other people's opinions become everything and your opinion becomes zero, then something's off, okay? And on Tuesday, something's off. Don't dismiss your own opinion. It's super important. So the Gemini moon sextiles the sun in Leo. So that sense of self is there, coupled along with the need to fit in. It also sextiles Chiron in Aries and Mercury in Leo. The Gemini moon squares Venus in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces. Mercury in Leo then squares Uranus in Taurus. So we've got a lot going on here. So expressing your own ideas and opinions, that's going to feel important and grounding. It's like, okay, I stood up for myself. Well done, me. Need to do that. With the Gemini moon and the Venus and Virgo stuff, you're really good with info on Tuesday, and you're really able to look at the details and to get things right. And you're also able to pinpoint what you would like them to look like. So the whole thinking ahead is something that you also have access to this week, that you can make plans for the future. And then Mercury in Leo squaring Uranus and Taurus, again, it's this ability to deal with anything that comes your way that's unexpected, that may usually throw you for a loop. So with all of that really intense energy on Tuesday, I think there's going to be some sort of a news story or opinion that you've aligned yourself with by Tuesday, because the need for info is so important and the need for belonging is important. It makes sense that you become fascinated by something which resonates, which speaks to you in some way. So be careful whenever you put someone on a pedestal, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment and that person for... It just makes no sense, because people are complicated and they have lots of different aspects to their personality. If you are taking someone's way of thinking or their teachings and you're implementing them, and that's great, but then you also put the other person on a pedestal to say, oh, this is the originator of that information, aren't they special? Then that's a problem, because the work is what's special. People are special in their own unique ways, but when you look at someone as special, it creates an imbalance. It's not good. Just an example. So Doreen Virtue, right? We all know Doreen Virtue. She was a big person in the New Age movement, and a lot of us followed her. And then she had a change in perspective and started saying different things, which conflicted with what she'd said before. And it disappointed a lot of her fans and followers, because it was like, oh, so I really am. So the old rules apply, and all this stuff about love and stuff doesn't work anymore. Okay, well, that's your choice. So you see, it's being able to learn things, but learning things and keeping the individual separate. Because it can be much more problematic than that. If you align yourself with someone whose teachings you enjoy, or their solution to every problem, but then that person has a really dark side, they're doing something really, that's very problematic, and you're in pictures with that person, and you've totally, banged your drum and promoted them and said this way of thinking is the only way of thinking, then if that dark truth comes out, you're going to be in a problematic situation. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I think it's going to come up as an issue this week. It's that whole, I need to belong. Yes, you know more than me. Okay, I will do as you say. That whole thing is just, it doesn't have a good outcome this week, I feel. And I think it's something that we can all be tempted into. You know, if someone appears to have all the answers to our problems, then of course we're going to go, yes, wonderful. But I really think that this week it's going to cause more problems. Let's see how that progresses. Because here it's on Tuesday, it's not a good idea. Instead, what is a good idea is spending time with friends and colleagues. That'll feel great. And if there's any type of games or sports or competitions that you can do with other people, try and join in to have lots of fun. It's really a good way to run off your own steam and to interact with other people rather than joining some religion or group or corporation or way of thinking. You're very tuned into the feelings of other people on Tuesday, which is another reason to be careful around being influenced or used as a mouthpiece. Yeah, that's the real warning, not to align yourself with other people too much, because you never know what their hidden agenda is. And if it's really sinister, then you don't want to be a part of that. Yeah. Okay, on Wednesday, the 4th of August, we've got the Moon in Gemini forming a square with Neptune in Pisces. So you're really able to, again, play the tape forward and see what you would like to happen and what could be. So your imagination is really strong. It trines Jupiter in Aquarius, so it makes that whole thing even bigger. And quincunxes Pluto in Capricorn. So by thinking for yourself and about your own circumstances, you're really able to come up with information that can be life-changing. The Moon enters Cancer. So later on in the day, as the Moon changes out of Gemini and into Cancer, you're going to be more interested in your feelings. So already you've had the desire to please other people, but with Cancer coming into the mix now, that becomes really a problem because Cancer is all about taking the initiative to take care of others. The Sun in Leo trines Chiron in Aries. That's a saving grace in the sense of me, my identity, what I feel to be true, and what I'm not going to compromise. And then the Cancer Moon sextiles Mars in Virgo. Okay. So with this, on Wednesday, your inner activist is awakened and you're really looking to make changes through your own efforts. So now you're not feeling the status quo and you're doing a 180 and you're trying to change the thinking of the status quo by having a particular influence on some sort of an issue, speaking out on a cause or an issue or something like that. So you want to take care of something that will affect a large number of people. So activism is option 1. You can do that and try and affect great change. But with the energy being what it is, if no one comes to your protest or you get no support or there's no interest, it will feel painful, which I'm not saying should prevent you from doing it, but just, some protests and some sort of events work and others don't. They're not all guaranteed to work. So yours may really work and may have a great effect on changing the discourse and the minds of people. But if it doesn't work, then just brace yourself for the emotional fallout and be kind to yourself because it's going to feel quite difficult. So that's option 1. Option 2 is spending time with loved ones and socializing. Will work as option 2. So rather than affecting the whole of society, spend time with people you actually like and get a much greater sense of nurture and belonging and personal healing from that. So if you're going to plan something public, it's always going to be stressful and there's always going to be the potential for failure. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but I think that Wednesday, with this coming out so strongly, it's not the ideal time to do that kind of thing. If you can do it either earlier in the week or waiting till later, it'll be better, because Wednesday is really the kind of the tipping point where everyone is uncertain about, do I pursue something like that, or do I just accept the common consensus, or do I do my own thing? People are going to be very hesitant, so a wonderful turnout isn't likely. So if you can do anything about that, then try to. I just don't think it's going to be ideal. Fitness, health, and nutrition may become interesting themes to you on Wednesday. So taking care of yourself through food and the body and other people in a kind of more personal way. On Thursday, the 5th of August, we've got the Cancer moon now forming a sextile with Mars in Virgo. So there's a strong desire for order in your relationships. Wow, so it's getting really complicated. So that can be order in the sense of, okay, I love and am loved by a group of people who share my ideas, or I want to educate these people so that they come around to my way of thinking. It's very disempowering to focus and to decide whether you're happy or fulfilled based on how other people are feeling about you and what you've done for them. I mean, it's a never-ending process. And the important thing here this week is really to watch out for who you're aligning yourself with, how much responsibility you're taking for the happiness of other people, and whether you're forgetting about yourself in that whole mix. So don't forget about yourself. With the Cancer moon forming this sextile with Mars and Virgo, that's going to continue to be an issue. It quincunxes Saturn in Aquarius. So the greater good is what's supposed to be, and we have to do everything we can to keep other people happy. It squares Chiron in Aries, so on Thursday, the self isn't as important as the group. That's really important because you don't have your own best interest at heart. And this is the day where you're most susceptible to undue influence. And it sextiles Uranus and Taurus as well. So this can have really significant real life effects. So the way I think this will manifest itself is, one is just being overly interested in things that you may have heard before but that didn't really click, and suddenly something does click, or really having an extreme reaction to someone's opinion on your work or your performance or what you've said. You're just overly sensitive with all this energy to any indication that your position in the herd is at risk. It's weird. It's like this strange pressure of, is my place in the community secure? And if you feel like you're going to be kicked out of the community that you've been in for, 30 years, it's normal to kind of wind it in a bit and to say, okay, I'm going to try and do everything I can to fit in here. It's got a very unusual energy, this. So also on Thursday the 5th, someone in your life, someone who's close to you, someone you care about, they may do something that you don't like. And if there is an issue with someone in your life, and especially the way you're feeling, it's much better to resolve that issue with the person one-to-one and to avoid making it a public thing. Yes, other people's opinions are great and wonderful and stuff, but if you're in a conflict with someone, then talking to that person about the conflict is much more helpful than opening it up to a group of people who everyone's going to chip in, and then it becomes a news item. You know what I mean? So if you do have a problem with someone, try and resolve it and keep it as private as possible. But because you have this respect for the greater good, really, you may have a tendency to share it because other people may have useful ideas and insights. And the worst thing I think you could think of doing is putting that kind of thing, something really private and personal, like putting it on social media to get backup for your cause. Don't do that. It'll turn it into something that's really problematic, and it becomes a news story of its own. So rather than, oh, she's upset because her niece was mean to her and she's put it on Facebook, it becomes, oh, she's so unhinged that whenever anyone in her family does something to her, she posts all over Facebook about it. Do I want to be next? If I have a fallout with her, is she going to put me on Facebook? So it becomes something other than it initially was. The good things about Thursday are learning, self-care, and exercising. They're all great sources of comfort and interest to you. So I get that there's a lot of discipline that's involved this week, and it's going to require a bit of really checking in with yourself to make sure you're on the right track, and that can feel a little bit exhausting. Ultimately, I think taking yourself and your sense of aliveness and making that an important factor is really important this week. So on Friday the 6th, we still got the moon in Cancer. It now sextiles Venus in Virgo. Again, that loves order, but it also wants to educate. It trines Neptune in Pisces, so we got lots of water here. So the ultimate, most beautiful thing you can do is to take care of other people. Yikes, okay. I mean, that is beautiful to take care of other people. But I'm saying yikes because of everything it goes with, you know, like doing everything for someone who then grows used to it, or it's an imbalance. And it opposes Pluto in Capricorn and quincunxes Jupiter in Aquarius. Okay, so we've got extreme energies which are putting you in positions and ways of behaving which do create imbalance. So you're overly nurturing. You may be overly focused on creating order and security and making sure everyone knows what they're doing at the right time, which then can irritate other people. Or you're trying to anticipate things which haven't even happened yet. Or you're really thinking about ideas which are going to be helpful to other people and which they desperately need to know about. So it puts you in a position where you're trying to push an agenda or get something out or do something, and it puts you on insecure. The ground beneath you is not secure. It feels very shaky. And that in itself, other people are going to pick up on, and that can create conflict. Like your opponent seems to be somewhat disoriented at the moment, so now's the time to strike. It's a very personal, kind of almost playground, childlike, bully type of energy that I'm getting between I want to belong to this group, but if I don't, I'm going to have issues with the group. And it just causes anxiety this week. The Sun in Leo squares Uranus and Taurus. And again, the great thing is that despite anxiety that may be floating around, you really can handle anything that comes up. So on Friday, a disagreement, even from the day before, may continue, and it may get more heated, and you may feel emotionally very cut off and like that other person is being very cold. Your creativity and your healing ability are supported and very strong on Friday. So working with those kind of things to create, rather than to force someone else to do something, is much better. And I think when it comes to other people, the approach ought to be hands-off as much as possible. Especially if you want something, that's going to make you uneasy. So try and want as little as possible from other people. Something that you've been working on working to manifest in your life, like prosperity, love, or abundance, that's going to show up in some sort of unexpected and positive way on Friday the 6th. So that's very interesting and very different to this back and forth that you're experiencing all week. So look at what you do want to achieve in your life and where you want to go and the nice things that you want to have in your everyday experience, and focus on those for the beginning of the week and see what shows up on Friday. It happens quickly. On Saturday, the 7th of August, we've got the moon still in Cancer. So we've got the moon going into Cancer on Wednesday, and it's still in Cancer on Saturday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 4 days. Cancer is a cardinal sign, so it's my job, no one else's, to take care of the family and the home and to make everyone happy. And that's partially why this whole me versus them thing, or me in connection to them thing, is a problem, because you feel like I can fit in, I can make it happen, even if I have nothing in common with these people, because I see what they can offer me, the belonging and the safety is so great. And it isn't so great if you're then in a club where you have nothing in common with anybody else. It really isn't. It's an illusion, like a lot of other things. So on Saturday then, the Cancer moon quincunxes Jupiter in Aquarius, and I think that heightens anxiety. That's the sense I get anyway. The moon enters Leo at 9:31 in the morning, so that's really good now that the moon leaves Cancer, because Leo is much more about you and your power and your strength. So a problem is already almost immediately resolved with that shift. The Leo moon opposes Saturn in Aquarius, so it's like, oh, hang on a minute, okay, this is your little group and your little club, but this is the club of me, okay? So you naturally re-emerge to your beautiful, confident self. Mercury in Leo, quincunxes Neptune in Pisces, but it's not 100% crystal clear sailing just yet. It's still a little bit fuzzy. Am I wrong? Would it be in my interest to align myself with these people, or am I really right by myself? It's not that confident yet. It's still a bit of a question. So that all combines to really create a strong longing to connect with someone in a romantic or intimate or meaningful way. And that's fine, but again, it can create an imbalance and really set you up for disappointment. Like if you've ever gone to a new town or something and you're by yourself and in the evening you're like, okay, tonight I'm going to go out and I'm going to meet the person of my dreams, and our eyes are going to lock across the bar and it's just going to be gorgeous and beautiful. I mean, I don't know if you've done that, but I've done it. I've gone somewhere and I'm like, okay, tonight's the night, it's going to happen. And then it doesn't happen. It can be really disappointing. It's like, oh. So that's what I'm saying. The imbalance sets you up for disappointment because the expectations are too high. So if you have this strong longing to connect with someone, then I'm not saying don't act on it, but really manage your feelings and, like earlier in the week, the emotional fallout of not getting what you want, because that's where you're sensitive this week, of things not going the way you planned. That gets on your nerves. So don't hold back because it's an opportunity, but not every opportunity pays off. So just be aware of how you then feel about that. The Leo moon opposes, Saturn in Aquarius, Mercury in Leo, quincunxes Neptune in Pisces. Yeah. So the manifestation stuff is still really strong on Saturday. If you want it, dream it, it'll come true. It's really important. And that's really hidden behind all this people stuff, this real talent to manifest. Okay, so having a strong desire to connect is fine, but it will have the potential to really be fabulous and magical. But like I said a moment ago, it can also leave you feeling isolated and lonely. So just be aware that it can go either way, and don't be too committed to a particular outcome, and deal with what comes up. Looking to the future and keeping your eye on what you want to do is better than picking apart the negative reality of now. So rather than being in the present moment and being unhappy and miserable, I'm saying look to the future and manifest something fabulous. Which isn't what I always say. I often say live in the now, live in the moment, because that's how we create more fire and positivity. But on Saturday, if the moment is full of, oh, I didn't meet anyone, aren't I unlikable, then focusing on that is only going to make that bigger. So I'm saying replace negativity with positivity on Saturday, because the manifestation stuff is so strong. It's really important to keep a positive and constructive frame of mind. Yeah, because with Neptune's influence, your thoughts really are things and manifest quickly. So look at what could be in an ideal version of your reality rather than what is in the less than ideal reality. So a bit of healthy denial there, I would say. Yeah, you don't have to accept everything as true just because it exists on planet Earth. You can look at what you'd rather have instead in some sort of near future. Finally, on Sunday, the 8th of August, do I want to get into that? I think it's pretty straightforward that denial isn't always a bad thing. It can be really helpful to protect us psychologically. I hope that's what I meant. Like, not actual denial as a condition that you need to be medicated for. I mean it as an intellectual or spiritual technique that shields us from things that we don't want to see. And what I'm saying with Saturday is don't let it hurt you too much, the things that you're seeing, because with the manifestation potential, you can really change things around. So why bother torturing yourself with things that aren't going to be around for long anyway? Finally, Sunday, the 8th of August, we have a new moon in Leo. So the sun and the moon conjunct in Leo. The moon is recharging its batteries and it's starting up again. I'll make a separate video on that and I'll go into more detail. But it seems very wobbly to me. With all this people versus self, I think it may encourage you to try and do a patchwork of what's going on. The Leo moon conjuncts the sun in Leo, so there is a great sense of, okay, back to me. The Leo moon then trines Chiron in Aries, which is even better, back to my healing. It squares Uranus and Taurus. I'm able to deal with what comes my way. Quincunxes Neptune in Pisces, so what could be. And Pluto in Capricorn. The world is malleable. I don't need to define myself as a result of my circumstances. All really good. But the Leo moon also conjuncts Mercury in Leo. So it is really fired up, but because of all the ungrounded insecurity that's been floating around, I really think that the new moon is going to look like a very uncertain combo between passion and this ongoing need to conform. Do I do what I want, or do I dim it down a bit to fit into this group? And that's actually what I want. I find it very strange because this is a very kind of social, it's a very interpersonal problem that's being created. And that's not usually the case, you see. So you're very uncertain about your role and your security as it pertains to other people. And that's why it's going to be much more productive working with yourself and the creative stuff that is actually functioning, rather than figuring out what other people are thinking, because you can't. You never know what other people think. I mean, you can have an idea, but you don't really know. So I would say this week overall, please don't feel the need to conform. And if something is everything and your eyes become like saucers and it's like, oh, he's got all the ideas and let me totally align, then that's dangerous. The personal thing you can do is you do crave excitement and connection on Sunday. And you can have an amazing time. So see how you can spearhead that kind of thing and really do something that isn't dependent on other people. However, if there is disapproval or loneliness, that's going to be difficult to deal with. So if you are on your own, then plan something creative, spiritual, or social to avoid those feelings, which on Sunday are going to be more difficult to deal with. So it's a very complicated thing this week. It's like a spaghetti bowl. Do I get people to like me, or do I do my own thing? And what if they don't like me? And oh no, it's very, it just makes the self appear smaller and under a lot of pressure. And the thing I keep getting mentally and visually is to just change the perspective and turn your back on that questioning and focus on what you can do for yourself and grow that ball of fire and flame and energy, rather than trying to ping pong around to make it okay for everyone else. I don't like that at all. It's a weird week, yeah. And I've said that quite a few times now, but it's an odd vibe. It really is. So despite that, I hope you have a wonderful time. I mean, the good thing about being able to anticipate other people's needs and to really fit in and to dismiss yourself is that some communities need to function. You can't have constant conflict. So sometimes you need to make a personal sacrifice, right? So some communities can really do good things. Like they can work with the city or the land or the society or whatever. So if you ultimately, if you are part of a community, a group of people, an organization that can get things done, like activism, you know, if you do have people behind you backing you up, or a charity, or some sort of fund that you have access to, that you dole out to good ideas or whatever. You know, if you're in a group of people who can actually affect change, then work with those people this week. And if you're already aligned with their way of thinking and you already belong to something that really works for you, then focus on them because it already works. Don't try and make it work in every aspect of your life with every person. So if you already are lucky enough to belong to something like that, spend a part of your week with them to tick that box, but then also do things for yourself to create more balance and to make things more straightforward for yourself this week. And if you are by yourself and you're not going to see anybody the whole week, which is unlikely, but which does happen to some of us, then really just make a list of certain emotions like loneliness and disappointment that are going to be more triggering than usual, and just prepare yourself for those things to come up and deal with them as you usually would. You know, the self-care things that you do when you have those feelings to come off them. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I got for you this week. I hope you have a wonderful time. If you would like a personal reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. I use astrology, tarot, numerology, and my intuition in my personal readings. Did I just say that twice? I'm sorry if I did. But basically, to draw up your birth chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. Then I have a snapshot of the sky at the moment you were born, and I can see a lot in your birth chart. Your life purpose, your career aptitudes, your love life, health, relationships, travel, personal development, spiritual awakening, a lot. If you have any questions or you are planning for the future, then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you next week.